Hello, Sneem. Thank you so much for being accessible to ordinary people like me. Thank you. How you answered, I felt like you're talking to me directly. I feel like you answered my question. But I live actually in Vancouver, Canada, and my job is to help customers um, achieve their financial goals and their financial well-being. So I'm in a very competitive financial industry. I have sales targets to meet. And the business, how we get business is from referral from my coworkers. And I'm in a specialized work, and there are two people from my office who does this specialized work, myself and my buddy. And we have a very good working relationship. But my coworkers sends all the business to my buddy, not so much to me. So I was very hurt and angry, and I asked my coworkers, asked why, and they said because, many of our clientels are Punjabi Indians. So because they're looking for a Punjabi speaker, and my partner can speak Punjabi, although they speak English very well. I think it's an excuse. So I blamed my coworkers up until yesterday for my low number on sales, because my partner's sales is high and my sales is low. I realize it's my responsibility and not to blame others. And I have learned from you and from the Buddhist school. My question to you is that I want to meet my sales goals. It's probably unrealistic because the sales target is unrealistic. But I want to do actually better than my buddy. And I know that gives me suffering because I'm putting that on myself, like you just said. But how can I do well and meet my sales target but at the same time surrender to this want? I feel like I'm kind of stuck.
자기가 느낄 때 상대 동료가 여성입니까, 남성입니까?
So is your partner or your buddy man or female?
He's a man.
또 상대가 유로피안입니까, 아시아인입니까?
Is he Asian or European?
It's Asian, Indian.
자기가 생각할 때 혹시 이렇게 여성이라서 조금 차별을 받는다든지 아시안이라서 조금 차별을 받는다든지 뭐 이런 거를 조금 지금 속으로 느끼고 있습니까?
Do you feel that you're being discriminated because of your gender or because of your ethnicity?
Very good question. Yes, the area that I work in are most of the people are Indian, mostly Punjabi speaker, and I'm only Korean Canadian. So I don't look the part.
그러면 자기가 생각할 때 한국계라고 하니까 만약에 베트남에서 사이공 대학을 나왔다, 호치민 대학을 나왔다 이런 사람이 한국에 와서 예를 들면 공장에서나 식당에서 일을 할 때 한국 사람들이 저 사람이 사이공대 나왔냐, 호치민대 나왔냐, 뭐 다낭대 나왔냐 이런 거 따질까요, 안 따질까요?
So let's take an example. So say a Vietnamese worker in South Korea, he graduated from Saigon University or Ho Chi Minh or Da Nang University in Vietnam, but he's in South Korea working at a restaurant as a server or a factory as a worker. Looking at him, do you think South Koreans is thinking, what college did he graduate from?
No, I don't think they'll care.
예. 그러니까 저희가 아무리 재능이 있어도 캐나다인들이 볼 때는 그냥 아시아인이다. 또 그 캐나다인들의 주류가 인디언들이라면 어쨌든 인디언 아니다. 남자에다가 인디언에다가 그러니까 그 사람이 가진 기본 조건이 유리할 수밖에 없잖아요.
So, taking that analogy, applying back to your situation. So in your situation, the circumstances in which, the Indian is the majority, and being a female as well. So basically you are classified out of being the majority, the desired traits, no matter how able you are and capable you might be as an individual.
어떤 법적으로 차별을 하는 거는 우리가 개선을 해야 되지만은 이런 문화적으로 차별하는 거는 어쩔 수가 없잖아요.
There legal discrimination, something that goes against the law. There's something there are remedies for that, and there are ways for you to assert your right. But what's more subtle is the cultural discrimination or the preferences that actually ends up in discrimination. There's very little you can do.
그렇기 때문에 이것은 어느 정도 이렇게 불리한 조건을 감수할 수밖에 없다고 생각합니다.
So in these circumstances, there's, not a lot you can do, but really have to deal with the cards that you're dealt in that current circumstances.
지금 자기가 받는 그 수익이 내가 생활도 어렵다 이런 거라면 어떤 절대적인 거라면 문제지만은 그 내 동료와 비교해서 내가 부족하다 하는 문제는 해결할 길이 없습니다.
And so if the money you're earning is not enough for you to live on, that becomes a survival issue. But, if the money you're making is lower relative to the one that your buddy's making, there's not a lot that you can do about that.
그건 경쟁을 해서 이겨야 되는 건데, 그건 이겨야 된다는 것은 이길 수도 있고 질 수도 있는 게 세상의 이치입니다.
Because when the scale is relative, then you have to engage in a competition, right? To actually win that relative scale. In a competition, you can win or you can lose. That's how competitions work.
전국에서 가장 공부를 잘하는 우수한 학생을 모아서 한 반을 편성하면 그 잘하는 아이들 속에도 1등이 나오고 꼴찌가 나오게 됩니다.
So let's take all the best students around the country and put them in the same class. Then in that same class, you'll have the first, number one and the last.
어쩔 수가 없잖아요.
You're ranking them relatively. So there's nothing you can do.
공부 못한 아이만 모아서 한 반을 편성해도 또 1등이 나옵니다.
Same thing with the worst students in the world. You put them all in the same class, you'll have number one and the last.
그렇기 때문에 상대적 비교는 가능하면 하지 않는 게 좋습니다.
That's why it's better for you to stay away from comparing yourself on a relative scale with others.
현재 자기가 캐나다 밴쿠버에서 사는 사람들 중에 자기 삶이 이렇게 좀 어느 정도 중 이상의 클래스가 된다 이러면 거기에 만족할 줄 알아야 됩니다.
And if your current life and how much money you earn, the resources you have, put you in the middle to kind of a upper middle class of the Vancouver people that you live in, you have to learn to be satisfied with your status.
지금 자기가 보니까 수입이 괜찮은 것 같은 지금 뉘앙스를 갖고 보이는데 어떻습니까?
I get it that you are making pretty good money. Am I right?
그러니까 공연히 주문을 많이 받아서 바쁘게 사는 것보다 그 돈은 벌지만은 바쁘게 사는 것보다 오히려 여유 있게 하면서 여유가 있어야 한 사람 한 사람의 그 주문에 대해서 내가 훨씬 더 정성을 들일 수가 있지 않습니까?
So instead of trying to, create more work and make yourself even busier, maybe take that space, take that time you have and really focus on the individual, on the customers that you have.
그렇게 되면 그 서비스가 일이 많은 사람보다 질이 좋아지기 때문에 시간이 흐르면 그 입소문이 납니다. 그 사람한테 맡겼더니 정말 서비스가 좋더라, 일을 잘하더라 이렇게 되면 시간이 흐르면 다시 유리해집니다.
And the quality of your customer service, because you are able to focus on that individual much more closely, eventually will get out, and the word of mouth will actually allow you to be much more competitive in the long run.
그러니까 아시아인이다, 여성이다 이것이 불리하지만은 이 불리한 것을 극복하려면 그 사람보다 실력이나 서비스가 질이 월등하게 높아야 그것을 극복할 수가 있습니다.
Because you do come in with disadvantages as being a female, as being a non-Indian, the way for you to overcome that and raise your competitiveness is the quality and the merits of your service.
한국계니까 한국 사회에서 학벌 같은 게 얼마나 중요합니까?
So as a Korean Canadian, you realize among the Korean community, the school where you went to school is really important, right?
고등학교 다니다 그만둔 저가 얼마나 불리하겠습니까?
So in that sense, I never even graduated from high school. What does that put me?
외국에 유학도 안 갔다 왔잖아요.
I've never went abroad to study.
영어도 모르잖아요.
I don't speak English.
또 성려 사회 안에서도 어떤 지위도 없잖아요.
And even among the monks hierarchy here, I don't have any positions.
그런데도 우리가 이렇게 살아갈 수 있는 것은 대신에 그런 불리한 것을 극복할 만큼 자기의 실력이나 그렇지 않으면 서비스가 있어야 된다는 거예요.
But despite this structural disadvantages, we can all make our way into this world because we can always try to be better at something else in terms of quality and the merits that we carry.
그래서 그것은 출발 때는 불리하지만은 길게 보면 그러므로 해서 실력이 더 정성이 더 많이 들어가기 때문에 결과적으로는 유리해집니다.
So maybe you're structurally disadvantaged today in this position, but because you have to put in more effort, perhaps that skill that you gain and the quality that you show will make you much more competitive down the road.
지금 불리한 것을 괴로워하거나 불만을 갖기보다는 극복하기 위해서 더 많이 연구하고 더 많이 노력하는 것, 그것을 괴로워하면서가 아니라 기쁜 마음으로 행할 때 이제 시간이 흘러가면 점점 자기 자리를 잡게 됩니다.
So instead of ruining and suffering based on your current structural disadvantages, use that as motivation, but without suffering to better yourself. So in the long run, you're in a much better position.
그래서 저는 자기에게 적은 수의 그 사람에게 더 높은 질의 서비스를 하는 게 해결책이다 이렇게 생각합니다.
So I think your way out to better competition, better more clientele is to focus on the few clients that you have and make sure you do the best job possible on them.
그리고 이런 여유가 있을 때 이 불교 공부도 좀 하시고요.
And while you do have this time in your hands, maybe study Buddhism more.
예, 이 내적 실력이 있어야 인생을 살아가는데 큰 힘이 됩니다.
So you really need that skill, that ingrained, internalized resiliency for you to really live your life well in the long run.
네, 본인 얘기도 해보세요.
Please go ahead.
I feel so warm inside because I really care about my clients and their financial well-being. And when they say that, oh, you took the mystery out of finances, that's when I feel really I'm so grateful. But my manager, she asked every day, how many sales did you do? How much did you do? And that's when I feel the pressure. So after listening to you, do I just go, okay, thank you, and just keep doing the service I do and better myself? Is that what I should do?
네, 그렇게 물어볼 때 위축되지 마시고 저희가 아시아인으로서 이 유로피안 또는 인디언들이 많은 사회에서 또 여자로서 이만큼 하는 것에 대해서 자랑스럽게 생각하셔야 돼요.
So do not feel belittled or anxious when somebody asks you that question, but feel proud of yourself for being able to actually, work in this disadvantaged environment and do what you are doing today.
그리고 그렇게 물을 때 웃으면서 네, 잘하고 있습니다. 이렇게 대답하면 돼요.
And when your manager asks that question, just smile and say, I'm doing well, thank you.
그러면 이 주문량이 적지 않느냐 이렇게 얘기하면 제가 서비스를 더 잘 하고 있습니다. 이렇게 대답하면 돼요.
And if they say you're not meeting your sales goal, just answer back and say, I'm doing the best I can with my current clients.
그 숫자를 물었는데 숫자로 대답하려면 위축이 됩니다. 다른 식으로 대답을 해야 돼요.
Because if she asks you about sales goals, which are numbers, and you try to reply back with numbers, you're kind of falling into a question paradigm and you will never be able to get out of it. So reply in some other way.
예를 든다면 너 월급이 얼마냐 이럴 때 얼마다라고 대답하지 말고 제가 살기에 충분합니다. 이런 식으로 대답해야 된다는 거예요.
So, for example, somebody asks you, how much money do you make? Instead of giving them a number, say that I make enough to live well. Thank you.
이게 붓다의 대화법이에요.
And that's the way that Buddha actually conversed.
그러니까 너 왜 멈추지 않았냐 이렇게 대답할 때 내가 이런 이유로 멈추지 않았다 이렇게 대답하는 게 아니고 나는 멈췄다. 멈추지 않은 것은 너다. 이런 식으로 화제를 바꿔버리잖아요.
So, for example, when somebody accuses him, they say, "Why didn't you stop?" Instead of Buddha trying to, give excuses of why he didn't stop, he would just reply back, "I stopped. Why didn't you?" Kind of change the topic around, or the paradigm framework of the question around.
그러니까 이 세상은 누가 창조했느냐 기독교인이 이렇게 묻는데 누가 창조했지 이러면 그 말에 말려 들어가는 거예요.
For example, if a Christian asks you, "Who created this world?" and you start thinking, "Oh, who did create this world?" then you have fallen into the framework that he put out for you.
그것은 창조했다는 전제가 되어 있는 거예요.
Because the presumption there is that somebody had to create the world.
그럴 때는 머리로 밥을 넣으면 몇 시간 만에 되느냐 이렇게 되물어야 됩니다.
So when a Christian asks you, "Who created this world?" you reply back with another question. For example, how long does it take to create cooked rice out of sand?
그러니까 그런데 위축되지 않고 살아가시기 바랍니다.
So I want you not to be falling trap of somebody else's questions or language and live your life confidently.
네, 아시아인으로서 여성으로서 그런 전문직에서 그만큼 한 것도 대단한 일이에요. 그러니까 너무 욕심내지 마세요.
So doing what you are doing today as a woman, as an Asian in a non-Asian majority world, and having the skills that you have today, being a specialist, you have done so much already.
Thank you. Thank you so much.